If you're just joining us, or even if you've been on the show for several years at the desk. Quick refresher on how the criteria for King of the Hill works. First and foremost, rich tapestry, okay? Precedent, expectation, and current performance. It's named after LeBron James, and it's called King of the Hill.
It is indeed, and while history does matter and it is a rich tapestry, there is something very straightforward about it. There we go, that looks better. If you're out of the playoffs, you're off the hill.
That's fair.
It's the playoff edition.
Makes sense.
So I think we can show you who's been eliminated. What happened to all the butterflies? That is an unbelievable roster of eliminations. Well, I mean, those guys, by the way, aside from Paolo and Maxey and Booker, are all some of the oldest guys we have in the league. They all made the playoffs, and they were all one and done. That doesn't even include Steph, who never even was in the playoff edition. His team didn't make it. Slid off the hill was Tyrese Halliburton. Now, keep in mind, it was very hard to slide off the hill this week because so many guys were eliminated. But when you take one shot in the second half of a close game, when you score 6 points on 6 shots, you slide off the hill. That was awful by Tyrese Halliburton. Everybody was whining about the refs. How about your best player who's trying to be an all-NBA guy to get a Supermax contract just show up for the game? All right, bottom row. By the way, it's only a 6-row hill this week because we don't have enough players. Jamal Murray's got to slide because now in the round one, he was excellent in game 5. Start to finish, and he hit the game winner in game 2. Other than that, he wasn't very good.
No.
And then in this series, he's been bad, and yesterday he lost his cool, and fair's fair. Second straight game, Storm didn't talk to reporters, didn't answer for any of it, and he actually in this game had a lot to answer for. Rudy stays where he is. Shout out to Rudy. Congrats to him for the expanding family. Congrats to his teammates for picking up when he couldn't be there. And then some new guys to the hill. OG, Miles Turner, Evan Mobley, and Jaden McDaniels. Kind of a defensive corner of the hill, that part of it, but they all make it. 5th row, if we would. These guys, in my opinion, are second and third options. You could say that Siakam's first option was supposed to be Halliburton, who right now are playing some of the best basketball of their lives, maybe with the exception of Siakam. He's played at this level before. But obviously, Jalen Williams has played great in round 1. Michael Porter Jr. was the best shooter in the playoffs in the first round of the playoffs. Pascal Siakam's been the best pacer. Derek White, bald Derek White, oh my goodness. He's the opposite of me. Should have shaved your head way earlier than you did. And Josh Hart, 13 rebounds a game and 47 minutes per game in the playoffs so far. Unbelievable. Yep. Also, one note before we move on. If Josh Hart's never going to be able to rest during the game, maybe don't pick him for your in-between quarter interview. My guy's hyperventilating. Let him sit out for 60 seconds. All right, 4th row. All these guys in their mid to late 20s and balling. Jayson Tatum didn't have to do much in round 1. Donovan Mitchell had kind of rough first 5 games, but then 89 points in the last 2 games and was brilliant in that game 7. Jaylen Brown, my opinion, was the best Celtic for round 1. And Karl Anthony Towns, what a resurgence for his rep, for his ability to be a winner, his commitment on defense, it was real discussion. I was a part of it. When he went down in the regular season, how much does that hurt him, really?
Obviously, there was a lot of trade talks.
Right, a lot of trade talks. Shout out to Karl Anthony Towns. 3rd row. I mean, I'm sorry.
Tough one.
But Joker, you got to be better. The last time we did King of the Hill, he was at the top, and no one was on the 2nd row out of deference to him. But I thought Joker played poorly in the closeout game against the Lakers. They won despite it. I know he played poorly in game 1 despite the numbers, and then everyone knows he played poorly in game 2. He's got to slide. SGA stays right where he is. That's not an indictment. He was great in round 1. They're one of 2 teams that haven't lost yet in these playoffs. And Kyrie, man. Kyrie, I think, was the best Mav in round 1, certainly at the second half of those games. Luka's numbers were unbelievable. The efficiency wasn't there. Regardless, Kyrie was phenomenal. And now we get to the top 2 rows. And if the Nuggets lose, I think one of these 3 guys is going to win their first title.
Whoa.
Jalen Brunson is averaging 37 points a game, has 210 points in his last 5 playoff games, is the engine and the exclusive offensive option for the New York Knicks. Luka I said I didn't think he played up to, his best in round one because he shot like 23% from three. He still was 30, 9, and 8. And I think he's about to absolutely eviscerate the Oklahoma City Thunder. Not that it'll be a close series,
really good defense.
but I know Lou Dort's going to guard him. I think Luka's not going to shoot 23% from three and going to have a great series. And at the top of the playoff hill for the first time, a man who did get to the top of the regular season hill a couple times because of the highlight moments, because he won the week, now is doing it off the best player on what's been the best team. He has been the engine of that team, Anthony Bleeping Edwards. That, Brew,
pretty good,
is playoff edition of King of the Hill.
Solid hill for sure. And first, there was a hidden gem. I don't know if you caught it. Nick knows what I'm talking about. Hidden gem in there that you kind of glossed over. If the Nuggets lose, one of the top 3 players will win their first championship.
Yeah.
No Celtics.
None of those guys are Celtics, right?
No.
So you've got the Knicks beating the Celtics in the conference final?
No, not necessarily. It just means I don't think the Celtics can beat anybody that comes out of the West. That's all that means. That's what it means.
But if the Nuggets lose, you say Jalen Brunson could win the championship.
Yeah, because I think maybe the Knicks could. If they get there, I think maybe they could. I don't think the Celtics could. Just trust me on what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm really meaning Luka.
I thought it was cut and dry.
It's not cut and dry.
The rich tapestry, though.
Rich tapestry. I don't think the Celtics are likely to win the title, even though they're the favorite.
For the most part, I think the Hill is fine. I'm going to switch, though. This doesn't, the Hill doesn't mean he's a better player, just like you're not saying Brunson's better than Jokic. But I'm going to switch Derek White and Jayson Tatum. Wow. Because Tatum he struggled. I mean, he had some moments and some numbers.
Yeah.
But he played good defense and rebounded. I'll give him that 10 a game against Miami. But only 21 points a game, only 41% shooting, wasn't good from 3. And Derek White was we know how good he is on defense.
Yep.
But offensively, he averaged 22.7 points a game on like 57% shooting, 48% shooting from 3 wilds. In the last 2 games alone, he hit 13 threes, or like 52%. Last 2 games with Porzingis out. So I was like, Porzingis out. This could really get interesting. He averages 31.5 points a game on very efficient shooting. So Derek White, if he continues to play this way, I think that is huge for the Celtics.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know that I think he can continue to play this way. That's a fair point.
Or close, but 20 a game.
Also, one of the bigger errors of Popovich's entire tenure was giving up on Derek White. We talk about what the Spurs are going to be, and people are like, it was 3 years before they knew they were going to be tanking for Wemby. I don't buy that. I think that was just a mistake. I think they underestimated the player he could become. But that's fair, bro. Go ahead.
You guys ever have something slip out of your hands? Like you were excited, and next thing you know, like, oops, it's out of my hands. Does that ever happen to you?
Not to me.
It's never happened. I'm like, oh gosh, oh my goodness, my pencil's flying.
Yeah.
Did I throw the pencil over there?
Yeah.
Not really. I was just trying to say, oh gosh darn it. I don't know. Jamal Murray threw stuff onto the court, or was he just like, gosh darn it, I wish these referees refereed better. Got no proof that he did it on purpose. You can't tell me his intent. He may have just been frustrated, and next thing you know, the towel moves. You yourself said those hot packs can get a little moist, get a little slippery. You say, oh gosh darn it. Next thing you know, the hot pack is there. This? Well, what did you say, this?
The dollar, the money.
Or was it this? Because when Tommy DeVito does this, I got to go to a sandwich shop. I can't tell well, look at the Zapruder film of
That's this.
It's very close.
Versus this.
Okay, well, let's talk.
Also,
we can go in the legal office and talk about it for a few weeks.
This is why, Wild.
So you don't think he should be
the
suspended?
second throw is so devastating to your case, because I talk with my hands all the time, and it's totally implied to be talking with my hands and do that. But if then a moment later I'm like, hey, where's another one of these? I grab it and I throw it at you. Then all of a sudden you know I'm throwing it at you. By the way, that actually went inside your jacket somehow.
Oh, awesome.
It is. I actually think in your rascally way, you're onto something. That if he had only thrown one thing, he would have had a case that no one really would have believed.
There it goes.
But because I don't think the league wants to suspend him, they would have been like, okay, can we prove it was on purpose? But the fact that he threw one thing, got angry it didn't get where he was going, looked around, found something else, and threw something else.
I'm taking him off the hill. Meet you halfway.
Taking him off the hill.
Well, suspended from the hill.
You are really disappointed.
No, suspended for the hill.
He's
Suspended for throwing, so he's not suspended for game 3. Suspended from the hill.
Not the game.
Just from the hill. And I expect him, you know what? I have confidence in Jamal Murray. Few days off, the game is on Friday. Get the calf right. Got the 3-time MVP. Just play your game. Come out of there with 1 victory, maybe 2. Come back to Denver.
Real quick.
Simple.
Before we move on.
Yeah?
Because I tweeted about this game not being till Friday, and you in your fog of war last night, when you were just angry replying to people, tweeted like, why is this good for one
Why
team,
is it
not
a
the other?
disadvantage?
So I'm asking you, since we can't talk to the Nuggets right now, do you wish they played tomorrow, or are you glad they have until Friday?
No, I think whatever the calf needs is
I don't
paramount.
think yesterday was
think
about.
he's struggling because
I don't
of
think
the calf.
yesterday was
He
about
had
Jamal
8
Murray's
points.
calf.
He's
Why?
shooting 17%.
What's his best game of the playoffs? Game
This
5
playoffs,
against
his
the Lakers.
calf has been hurting the whole time.
Right.
Well, he had to dig down.
He was amazing in Game 5 right after he hurt it.
Well,
this is
I think it's just a
guys.
manageable
I can't.
situation. You just got to manage it.
I'm not. I've been down this path in 2016 with Steph. I can't go down it. When Steph got hurt, came back. First game back, sets the record for points in overtime. Steph's back. Then he has a bad game, he's hurt. Then he has a good game, he's back. Then he has a bad game, he's hurt.
True.
It
You're
can't be
right.
you're back when you're back and you're hurt when you're bad. That's not okay.
He's got 25 points in 2 games.
Because he's been bad. Because he's playing the best defense in basketball.
Well,
and
he's also
yesterday he's out of his
smothering
mind.
defense.
It's not
Get these
smothering.
butterflies
His
out of here.
calf
It is
doesn't
smothering.
function.
It
That's
is
some
smothering.
smothering defense.
He's right.
It's not that smothering.
It is.
It's a lot
Number
of
one in
fouls, I'll tell you that much.
90s defense. How about that?
Oh, here we go. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.